Zach Gelof's back.
Yeah.
He's played some rehab games. How do you anticipate using him? I know he was kind of your utility guy all around. Is that kind of how you anticipate using him?
Yeah, I think, obviously with Tommy White on the roster, with Muncy here, some other the younger guys that we're trying to get a look at, I think Zach has the opportunity to play all over. That being said, I mean, the next couple of weeks we kind of want to define maybe a role for him. Whether that's feasible or not, we'll see. Zach had a pretty good performance in his rehab. He feels good about coming back here and helping our club. And so I wouldn't say, one position he's going to see a majority of the time in the short term. But tonight he's getting to start at third base, and we feel good about him being in the lineup.
He's obviously swinging it pretty well before he got into all these injuries. How big would it be just for maybe give you a spark on offense and for him to finish kind of what was a resurgent year for him in big leagues here?
Yeah, I think it's important. Obviously, the next 6+ weeks are important for everyone on the current roster going into the offseason. For Zach, obviously finishing off a year where he's made a lot of positive strides offensively would be great. And, I think he's going to get every opportunity to do that, go out and perform, and finish the year.
How do you think the guys processed David's departure, given drafted a lot of those guys, signed a lot of those guys to big contracts? Just what's your feel for how the team is processing that?
As a player, I don't think that there's a lot to process. There's guys in that locker room that know they've been given the opportunity to be a big leaguer because of him, which I'm sure they're very thankful and grateful for. But they also have a reality that their careers and the performance of their careers depends on how they go out and play the game. So, there's a level of accountability for all of us with David not being here that we all felt and probably will feel through the end of the season. But for the players, they're focused on winning as many games as possible and having the best 6.5 weeks they can personally.
Yeah, the last time that you guys started a homestand here was against a very tough team, the Boston Red Sox. And you knew already beforehand that you were going to play 7 times in 14 days against the Red Sox. I guess Bridget asked you about how tough is this. You said you knew there was a tough team, but you're going to be well prepared. Well, you played your best baseball in the last 2 weeks. Besides against the Red Sox, you won 3 out of 7. You put a little dent in what seems to be a very competitive season for them. They're probably going to go to the playoffs. But we have seen this happen before. How come the Athletics always play very good against those tough teams like the Rays and the Rangers, and then let down against not so tough teams like the Tigers?
Well, the Tigers actually have closed the gap in a lot of areas in the wild card race. If I was to think about what the Tigers have done in the last 3 weeks, I think they've done a lot of positive things. So I don't know if that's a fair statement as to playing not our best baseball against them. The Reds series we lost, it was 3 one-run games. We had opportunities to win all those games. You hear me talk a lot about one-run games being there's a level of luck that's involved in changing the outcome, but to go into Boston and play the way we did and come out of there with 2 wins says a lot about the character of the team, the fight of the team. We've had our challenges, and those challenges can easily beat you down. And I think that they responded this weekend with a positive, which is a great sign.
Yes,
back from Boston last night. How was the locker room after finally winning a series and the first time?
As expected, a lot of joy. Every big league win is a time to enjoy. There was some personal accomplishments that we loved celebrating with Jacob Wilson's consecutive airless streak at shortstop, with Jeff McNeil getting 1,000th hit. Those are big accomplishments, ones that we wanted to make sure were acknowledged, and we did.
Last time that you guys were here, one of the last persons to ask you a question was our colleague Michael Wagaman. I know you know him very well. Could you please comment on some of the things you're going to remember more about him now that he's not with us?
I just think his love for the game stands out. Just the joy that he got from coming to the ballpark, being a part of this time in the game that he's grown with and loved, and yeah, I think those are the things that I'll remember the most about him.
Dan said that he was part of his job is going to be support you. Is your day-to-day stuff outside of managing the team, is that increasing? Are you doing anything else given the circumstances?
I think that obviously we're both here to support each other. Losing a leader in the organization, that has led for a long period of time. There's a vacancy in that, but I do feel like Dan being partnered with David understands the ins and outs of the daily operation, and I'll be there to support him, obviously in whatever capacity, with player moves and there's a lot of confidence from ownership that he can lead this until their process is in place.
Going back to the end of that last game in Boston, we saw you really manage aggressively at the end there, and it paid dividends for you guys with the steal, Jeff McNeil stealing, the Alika Williams pinch hit. Can you talk about that kind of style and you making those decisions, especially with playing now the Rays, who play small ball and they make a lot of those kind of moves as well?
Well, I think anytime you're playing a good team, you've got to take some chances that you might not normally take. Obviously, our lineup is constructed differently than what's normal for us. When we have guys like Kurtz, Lang, and Rooker in the middle, you can rely on the slug. When you're playing Boston, who has an elite bullpen, there's times to take chance, and we were fortunate. Again, we talk about luck in a one-run game. We were fortunate that when we ran Walton, they picked us off but made an errant throw, and we ended up capitalizing on that. Again, we talk a little bit about luck when you're overly aggressive sometimes to take chances, and it paid off.